Hi, everybody. Let's call the meeting to order, please. Okay, first item is a roll call. Is that right? Yep.
Let the record show all commissioners are present except Commissioner Meldal.
Okay, thank you. Let's all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Great, thank you. Are there any oral communications?
Yes, so we have 5 speakers tonight. Each will have 3 minutes to address the commission, and the first speaker is Harriet Papayounnou.
Hi, Harriet. Yeah, please come to the front. And just for all the speakers, we really try to limit it to 3 minutes if we can. If you're in the middle of a very important point, we really do want to hear it, so please complete your thought and your point, and then try to wrap up after that if you can, as concisely as possible, but we really want to hear all of your thoughts and comments. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We're all appreciative of you, and thank you for your service on the Recreation Commission. My name is Harriet. I've been a resident of Encinitas for the last 37 years. I am here with some of my pickleball friends to ask for your help in resolving a long-lasting problem at our community gym. Players have been trying to get relief for over 5 years. That #1 problem at the Recreation Center is the dim lighting. I hope that this evening we can begin to move forward by focusing 100% on this single issue. I hope we can share information with the Commission in order to resolve the issue. In pickleball terms, we all need to keep our eyes on the ball to find a solution. At the Recreation Center, we cannot keep our eyes on the ball since we cannot see the ball. Pickleball has been described as an eye-brain sport. It is unique in many ways, which makes visibility so important. A pickleball is very light and less than 3 inches in diameter. When hit, the ball travels at 25 to 40 miles per hour. A player will be as close as 7 feet from the net and at most 22 feet away. The ball takes 2 seconds to travel the court from one end to the other. When receiving a serve or a return, a player has only 1/2 second to see and analyze the ball that is moving at he or she. It is a challenge for sure. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Harriet.
The next speaker will be Donna Mangus.
Thank you for having us. I'm a resident of Encinitas. I've been playing pickleball for about 5 years at the community center, or the Encinitas Senior Center. We have a lot of seniors. We're just a small group of how many people play there. It's getting bigger by the day. I think we had 30 people over there yesterday morning playing. And it is a problem because we can't see the ball. Like Harriet said, the ball comes at you fast. You can't see it. People are getting hurt. You get hit by the ball because you can't react quick enough. The ball just comes here. It comes through your face, and you can't see it till it's right on top of you. We've tried getting bright pink balls. We've tried everything. We just need better lighting. The seniors want to stay active, and we don't want them to get hurt. If they can't see the ball, they can't react, and they're going to get hurt. So I think it's a safety thing. I think that we want to keep the seniors in our community active and in good health, and anything we can do to keep our seniors moving and out there would really be appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. And just again, we really don't ask a lot of questions at this time because they aren't agenda items, but if anyone has a clarifying question or anything like that, we are able to ask those types of questions. I think is that correct, staff?
Yeah, limited just to clarifications.
Super, thank you very much.
Okay, the next speaker is Sharon Valente.
Hello, my name is Sharon Valenti. I've lived in Encinitas for the last 38 years. Thank you for having me. I agree with everything that's been said so far. I just want to bring up that it is a safety issue, not only for pickleball players, but for everybody that uses the gym. We have basketball, we have badminton, and we have pickleball. And it is a safety issue for everyone. Especially if the sun's not shining, on the grayer days, it is almost impossible to see the ball inside the gym. Anything you guys can do to help us rectify this problem, we would really appreciate it. And if there's anything we can do to help you, please feel free to ask us, and we'll be there for you. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Sharon. Sharon, I actually have a question for you, if that's okay. Could you tell us what times of the day are you, I understand it's a safety issue kind of all the times the gym's used, but could you just tell me what times of the day most of your pickleball is occurring?
Majority of them are 8:30 to 11:30. In the morning.
In the morning, great. I know we've had a lot of gray days, not a lot of sunny
We've had
days,
quite
but
a
it's so
few,
8:30
yes.
to 11:30 in the morning. Super, thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker is Kim Piker.
I am Kim Piker, thank you. I've been in Encinitas for a generation, so. Everybody has said all the issues. I don't know exactly what the process is, but I have a question, which is, what is the budgeting process? Because of course, this is just a money issue. Like, we need some bulbs or lights or whatever, or consultants or somebody coming out and looking at lights. And so what is that process? And I don't know if you can answer that, or if it can get put on an agenda item or something for rectification of this problem, which is a pretty simple one, but how do we afford it? Thanks.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate your comments. And when staff gives theirs reports a little bit later in the evening, that's kind of the time where we might be able to ask at that time, when is this in the budget cycle, or when might this happen? So I would expect if you want to hang around for that part of it, it'd be great. If not, it's recorded and you can catch it online as well. But those are the kinds of times when we would be able to ask questions like that.
And our fifth and final speaker is Dennis.
I would just reiterate everything that the speakers have said, but I do play at other places. We have played Stagecoach in Carlsbad and Corky Smith in San Marcos, and the lighting there is just, it's day and night, no pun intended. But we certainly would invite, I don't know if anybody here plays pickleball, but we invite you down to see what we're talking about. Even if it's just a brief introductory game, I think you'll get a feel for what we're talking about. It won't take long, but we'd appreciate any help you can give us. Thanks.
Thank you. Is that all of our speakers? Okay.
I'd just like to say thank you to the speakers and the pickleball players for showing up tonight and bringing this issue to our attention. Very much appreciate it.
Commissioner Quinn?
Yeah, thank you for coming. And I do believe it's Tuesdays and Thursdays is the days for pickleball at the senior centers?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Okay. I'll be there tomorrow. at 8:30, okay? Maybe not to play, but to look at the lights. Okay. You'll teach me. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, thank you very.
We
The-
have a letter here that some of us wrote, and we would like to give it to you.
I'll accept the letter, that's fine, thank you. Yep.
We were supposed to deliver it to you a few weeks ago,
Oh.
but the lady that was in charge of this, she got COVID and she
Oh.
got sick, and so we decided to bring it today.
Well,
Thank you.
okay, I'll still take the letter, thank you. Okay, well, thank you all for being here. Pickleball has been a part of our agenda for a number of years where we've tried to find a way where both tennis players and pickleball players outdoors can use our facilities, and we appreciate your comments today. So thank you very much. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the posted agenda.
Okay, great. So we're going to move to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
Brad Hansen moves.
I'll second.
I would like to say that I was absent last month's meeting. However, I have watched the webcast of it, so I'm going to participate in the vote.
Okay, that motion passes. Our next agenda item is the action items, which is to review the Parks and Rec Commission work plan. Okay. So Dave, I'm going to start just going through these, see if we have updates from any of our ad hoc committees. Anybody has any additional reports that they'd like to add in terms of accomplishments so far. So stated goal for number one, which is Parks and Rec staff conduct 2 annual tours for the commission. Have we scheduled tours yet for summer activities?
We're in the planning phases for both the park and the recreation tours now, and we'll have some dates for the ad hoc and then for the larger commission by the August meeting for consideration. So we'll get those on the calendar at that time.
Great, thank you.
So I understand July we're dark for the meeting, and oftentimes that's because we're doing a special meeting for one of the park tours. So then there just wouldn't be a meeting for July?
Correct.
Okay, item number 2, which is attend city-sponsored events, raise awareness of the Parks and Recreation Commission, serve as city's ambassadors by welcoming, meeting, and greeting the public. This is, all of us are involved with that. I'm not sure if anybody has any recent events that they've attended that they'd like to acknowledge at this time, or if we're just all making our best efforts going forward to keep attending all these events and being our best ambassadors that we can for the city.
I would just like to report that I did attend the quarterly meeting between the Encinitas Trails Coalition and the City of Encinitas Parks and Rec Department that happened on June 13th. This is a quarterly meeting where the park staff meets with this particular group that is quite active in the maintenance and promoting trail work in Encinitas. So I would say that they had great conversations. I think that when I watched the interaction, I would first say that Bob is amazing in that he actually knows those trails backwards and forwards, and someone on the Encinitas Trails Coalition could mention about a specific tree, and he will know what tree they're talking about. I mean, it's really extraordinary, and I find that he has built a tremendous rapport with the Encinitas Trails Coalition. It's a great partnership. The Trails Coalition has also donated funds recently for installing some fencing along, I think it's Rancho Santa Fe Drive. So they have other projects that they want to continue to partner with the city, also continuing the fencing along that area. They communicate quite well with the staff on issues that they see, both from a trail hiking standpoint, but also from a horse standpoint. I mean, a lot of them are riders, so they're very involved in making sure that the stalls or the, what do they call that area, the Little Oaks Park? It's not really stables, it's, yeah, riding ring, thank you.
There's a corral there.
We could play.
Yes, so I think they've done a great job on working together and making sure that all of that is up to par. They're real happy with a lot of the new trail crossings that have been installed in Liebenhain. I reported some on some work that I helped spearhead in Cardiff with regards to the trail extension to the San Alejo Lagoons, and they were interested in that and actually posted an article that I had written for the Cardiff 101 Main Street regarding that effort on their Facebook site. So I think it was a great meeting. I would encourage those commissioners that are on our ad hoc to reach out to this organization. They have a lot of information that they would be very willing to share with you. It's a great group to get their input on the trails. And then also, I think it's worthwhile to perhaps drop in, attend one of their meetings that they have in Liebenhain, or stop in and listen to one of the quarterly meetings that they hold with the park staff. And it gives us a good read for any trail issues that are happening and what the status is.
Yes, Commissioner Quinn?
Could you share the contact information and how we get hold of them? Because I'm quite sure that Julie and I would, being on the ad hoc committee, would be very interested in that effort.
Yep.
I can send that to you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Vice Chair Ritter. Any other comments for this work plan right now? No? Okay. Item number 3, identify guest speakers for monthly meetings. Commissioner Vanderhour, how are we doing on that?
My understanding is we're dark July and that there is a speaker lined up for August. So I'm working on reaching out to someone for September. Is there a comment?
So I invited our Coastal Zone Administrator, Todd Moreau, to come to the August meeting to talk about the large beach nourishment project that will be going on later this year. So that spans both Solana Beach and Encinitas, and there'll be, impacts to all of our local beaches, and those are managed by both parks and the Marine Safety Unit. So I think it's applicable to what we have going on here.
Great, thank you. So this, under the special projects section, was certainly an exciting one last month or so, which was review parks and recreation fees, which we did that, and we made a recommendation to City Council, and it's my understanding that City Council did not adopt it at that meeting, but maybe needs some time to kind of reflect on what our recommendation was. Would you like to provide any comments on that now, or would you like to wait for your report to do that?
Manager Hamer, I can wait until the report, or I can comment now.
Well, why don't we do it now, if that's okay? We'll
Okay.
kind of- thanks.
The public hearing for fees stayed open. It was not closed because they did want to further review. And the department did meet with the group that spoke up, and we are reviewing different options. That report will be posted this Thursday, open to the public, so you can review it at that time, and it will be brought back on June 28th.
I was also contacted by one of the organizations which suggested that they would be impacted, which was the San Diego Youth Softball League. And I had a very nice conversation with them. They are really getting quite a lot of use out of our fields, without a doubt. I mean, it's almost, I would say, it seemed to be almost exclusively being used by them. And they went through kind of, at least as I understand it, some of their recreational leagues and also some of their competitive leagues. And I just thought that may have been a little bit combined in their conversations to City Council, where they were kind of talking, and I think perhaps City Council may have only was hearing that it was recreational leagues, but there's definitely some competitive leagues there too, which I'm sure you're aware of. I just wanted to point it out that I had a conversation with them. I thought it was productive, and hopefully we'll be able to come to a resolution on the park fees. Okay. So that will, maybe we could then next address, so the field allocation policy, this one as well has gone through a few changes, I believe, and Manager Hamer, could you perhaps give us a quick update there?
Yes, at this point, we were waiting on the fees to be approved, in whatever structure it ends up being, to then move forward with the allocation policy. I know I did draft a brief policy, but I was given direction that they wanted all the guide, the rules, and the long standards that make it about a 16-page document. So after June 28th, I will readdress the ad hoc committee to get back together again and review that and align with whatever the City Council decides on June 28th.
Understood. So again, once the new fee policy is adopted or not adopted on the 28th, then the field allocation policy will then become the next policy review that this commission will be addressing.
Yes, our hope would be to be presenting that to the commission in the August meeting. That would be our hope. That's a goal.
Okay, great, thank you. Volunteer recruitment and implementation. Anything new to report from the ad hoc? No. Okay. Okay, so I think it'd be helpful if perhaps the ad hoc could, try to reach out and schedule their meetings so that they could start to think about how might some of the outcome goals be achieved in this one. So maybe we should try to get that meetings in place with staff so we can try to attack that one too. Research and planning for adult outdoor fitness equipment, which is myself and Vice Chair Ritter. Would you like to start with that?
At this point, we're waiting for city staff to hire a consultant to work on the project, and once that consultant is hired, then at that point, I think we can become more active. So at this point, there's nothing to explore. Manager Norga, do you have any update as to where we are at on that hiring process?
Sure, very minor interim update. So because this is going to lead to capital improvement projects, we've engaged our counterparts over in the engineering department who are going to help us bring this home. So I've met with the engineers over there. They've assigned a project manager to it. We had a kickoff meeting, just internal, and they're going to enlist a consultant that will do the design work through probably our as-needed consultants. And once they're on board, we'll do the kickoff meeting that we discussed with the ad hoc and make sure that you guys are there from the beginning. So we are moving forward and making some progress, and hopefully we'll have something going this summer.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, the design work and engineering is for the replacement of I don't want to put words, is it for the replacement of playground equipment with adult fitness, or is it for the inclusion of that in existing park footprints? Could you just give me a little bit of a reminder, please?
Sure. So we have grants to replace the playground equipment at Wyro and Orpheus Parks. And with direction from the commission previously, we will also include adult fitness equipment at Orpheus. So the initial design phase will include designing the equipment that will be replaced as well as the new equipment.
And then would this ad hoc have the ability to make suggestions on what specific equipment we could purchase, or how is that decision made?
Yes, we are looking to the ad hoc for those kinds of inputs. It would be great to think about it not in terms of a specific manufacturer. We have our procurement policy, and so we have to go by a product or as equal. We can't just specify one thing. But if you can think about it in broad terms of, these are the types of things that we'd like to see. If there's a manufacturer that you do like, you can show it to us, and then we'll try and, the designers can try and make sure that there's some sort of or equal out there. But yeah, we would love that input, and I think you can work through staff and the designers to provide that input when we get into the design phase.
That's great. Thank you very much.
I would just say that I have collected a lot of information, both from vendors that I met with at the California State Parks and Recreation convention that I went to earlier this year, as well as when I was in Tel Aviv. They have just about every possible adult fitness equipment manufacturer, and it's all positioned along the promenade. So I took lots of pictures and videos. And I used some of the equipment while I was there. So I have a good feel for that. Also, because I used to teach a beach boot camp class where I did a lot of outdoor fitness, I also think that based upon my experience from doing it for 15 years, that I think that I'll have some great input for that.
Any imagery or literature that you have will likely be useful. I think we're going to have some public outreach meetings associated with this, so it'll be helpful to have it at that time as well.
And just to be clear, your trip to Tel Aviv was not financed by Encinitas, the city, is that correct? Okay, thank you. So the next item, number 8, is actually something that is of interest tonight, and perhaps we could broaden that topic a little bit, but review and monitor tennis court and pickleball court use in city parks. Commissioners O'Halloran, Hanson, and Quinn. Anything new to report first on kind of the stated work objective?
Well, I know we had received an email regarding pickleball and how we had talked about connecting with the community again, and maybe you can highlight that email for us.
It's Manager Norgard. So what Commissioner O'Halloran is referring to is we have a contractor that has been hired to restripe the court at Moonlight Beach. That court is in dire need of restriping and resurfacing. So we've had some water intrusion into the court, and the surface is peeling and cracking. So that contractor will come in and grind down the high spots, remove the surfacing, and resurface it. Unfortunately, they are very busy, and so we signed that contract about a month ago, but they're scheduling out to September right now. So we want to make sure that we time work associated with this work plan more closely to when that contractor will do their work, just to make sure that we're engaging people at the right time. From staff standpoint, we have not heard a lot of conflict recently. Things seem to be going pretty well. I know that we've heard some reports from other commissioners as well regarding that. So we're just kind of in a monitoring and maintenance phase right now.
And has there been any update about just the use of the pickleball courts at Cottonwood Creek Park? How is that going? Has it been everybody kind of getting along for the most part? Do we have any even data about usage? Anything you could additionally share about that?
Sure, and so that goes back to what I mentioned. The folks at Cottonwood seem to be getting along very well. We obviously have a large number of pickleballers there. We do have tennis there. We had the new nets that we put out on the East Court, which were well received, and we received requests almost immediately for more of those nets. They're a much better quality, professional level net. If you haven't seen them, they're pretty useful. They'll last a lot longer. The tennis and pickleball communities seem to have settled in and are working well together at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. I did see a couple of people shaking their heads perhaps of the audience, so I would just encourage, if anybody feels that there's information they'd love to share about Cottonwood Creek Park Pickleball, that could be done through an email, I believe. Is that right, Manager Norgard?
Yeah, anybody is welcome to reach out to me and either email or discuss it with me.
Great, and that would be a great way to do that, and then that would be another item that would be brought to our attention, and then one that we could start to discuss and develop. We're really keenly interested in making sure that there's plenty of pickleball opportunities for everybody.
In addition to that, if you can, right, Manager Norgard, then we would have your email, and when we do a reach out later this year, we would include you on those communications and get more feedback from you.
As also part of this work plan item, is there any update on the feasibility study, timing of that, or how that's progressing as it relates to sports courts at Encinitas Community Park?
No real update on that. The consultant is working. We're still anticipating first draft results late summer, and we'll circle back with the commission when we have that.
Great, thank you.
I had a question regarding the court at Olympus Park. Do you know, does it get used very often for pickleball? I know we have it striped for pickleball if people wanted to use it for that purpose.
We do get use out there. It seems to ebb and flow. I think some folks in the neighborhood pick up pickleball and like to play close to their house, and as they get serious, they move on to some different facilities. But yeah, we definitely do get use out there.
Great. Moving on to item 9, the pop-up parks at city events. Anything new to report on that?
Arranging a meeting, do you recommend, Manager Norgard, to perhaps coordinate a meeting between us and yourself and Nick Buck to kind of discuss those options?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. If you just reach out to me, I can handle the rest.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I think that there, obviously we did it at Cyclovia in January, and it was a big hit, and then we just need to kind of see what other community events are coming up where we could actually add the pickleball court or add cornhole, et cetera, and do a little pop-up park. Manager Hummer, did you have
I wanted to just update, because you mentioned Cyclovia, that is being moved to May because that's also Bike Month. And I'll get that exact date and share it with you at the next meeting, but just wanted to let you know it's not going to be January, it will be May.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Parks Master Plan specific focus includes 1.2A Trails Master Plan. Anything new to report on that?
Yes, I met with Commissioner Quinn, and we're going to start by taking a couple of trails, getting some text written about them, some photos, and then submit to staff for some feedback before we continue on. So we're going to do like a small little test sample and see what they have to say. They've given us some direction as far as where to go, so we want to, get feedback right away and then continue on.
Great, thank you. Are you looking for maybe areas of the trails that aren't, in your opinion, safe, or areas of the trails that aren't marked well, or what's kind of the goal of this analysis? Do you know yet, or are you still
This
going to?
is going towards the Outer Spatial app and making updates to that.
Great, thank you.
I might also recommend reaching out to the Encinitas Trails Coalition. They could be very helpful in that process.
I'll just add a little context. We did meet with the commissioners to discuss this. And one of the things that we're really looking for now is if you go into the Outer Spatial app and you go to the community park or Olympus, you'll see a great text description and some photos. And so we really prioritized our most high use parks and facilities for the rollout of the app. But there's a lot of facilities in there that don't really have that good copy and photographs in there. So the commissioners are going to start taking a bite at that. And as Commissioner Vanderauer mentioned, let's do a couple trails, see how the copy comes out, and then we'll go back out and do some more.
Oh, that's great. So that's actually going to be helping populate our outer spatial app with data and photos and things. So that could be really helpful. That's great. Thank you.
We're really excited about this one because at the end of this work plan, we'll have something that hopefully will go into the outer spatial app and actually drive more folks to get out into our facilities.
Great. Good idea. Thank you very much.
And Manager Norgard, could you provide any background that you may or may not know at this point, but just what kind of usage that we're seeing with outer spatial, and is that meeting your expected plans for where the usage would be at this point?
I don't have that, but I'd be happy to get it and provide it back to the commission.
And then do you know, does the city, and coming out of the Parks and Rec budget, I assume that there's a certain expense associated with being on outer spatial? I was kind of curious as to how the financials work on that too.
That's rolled up into our budget.
Okay. So then it is interesting to see kind of what that use is, to see if that's, a good use of our limited funds. So that would be interesting to kind of get that data back if we could. The next item is continue support of Friends of Encinitas Park as they continue support of Parks and Recreation. So we support you and you support us. Anything to add there, Commissioner Hanson?
Not a whole lot. We just received our first grant money, which was nice. And we're having a board meeting next week to talk about how to fulfill the grant. And then I think with Ross, we've got some other things possibly cooking too.
And can you give any insight at this time into does the grant have limitations on it, what it can be used or can't be used for? Is it a open grant? I'm not sure if you can share anything on that yet.
It's not an open grant. It's possible that I can write the source of the grant and see if it can be adjusted, but right now it's for a specific item.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else right now in the work plan. Is that correct? Okay. Sorry, the agenda's on my phone. So let's move to the park operations report if we could.
This is Manager Norgard, Park Operations Report. I'd just like to mention, for any questions related to the city's budget, people are more than welcome to reach out to me and I can walk you through any of that. There is good information on our website as well. We are entering the new fiscal year on July 1st, so it's a good time to discuss it. So anybody that's interested in that, please reach out. For operations reports, additionally, Stone Steps is nearing completion. We've had significant progress by the contractor and multiple inspections done by city staff, city structural engineer, and some consultants. I will be out there in the morning to do an additional inspection. The contractor is essentially completing punch list items now, and when that punch list has been completed, we will open Stone Steps. Moving on, it's the busy season for us, so we have a lot of people in the parks, which is great. The sun's come out and everybody noticed. Our parks are busier than ever. It feels like the old days. In addition to that, staff have been very busy trying to beautify the parks. We've planted over 100 trees in the last couple of weeks. We've mulched several parks and we will continue to do more of that. We have a lot of general maintenance going on, including, unfortunately, a large number of graffiti going on. It seems to happen every couple of years, but we're taking care of that as fast as we can. We don't let it linger. I mentioned at a previous meeting that we had a request for proposals for refurbishment and replacement of our monument signs. We did get a couple of proposals, so staff are in the process of reviewing those now and should have a determination out to those proposers in the next couple of weeks. Additionally, we had a request for proposals for a park host at the community park. We did not have any applicants that made it through into the system. We did have a couple applicants reach out to express interest in that. So we're going to refly that advertisement in the next couple weeks. I'm going to make a couple small tweaks to it, but that will be going out soon, and we'll advertise that in the newspaper and on our social media channels. And then lastly, at the June 14th council meeting, council approved the 2023 work plan outcomes and the proposed 23-24 work plan for the commission. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Manager Norgard on that report?
Is this where we can ask questions about lighting?
Lighting is in 1 minute.
1 minute, okay, sorry.
Is that correct? I think lighting will be for Manager Hamer.
We technically need to keep it pretty high level. It's a non-agendized item. So again, folks that are interested in that, please reach out to myself or Manager Hamer for specifics on lighting. If you want to talk about the budget, I'd be more than happy to walk anybody through that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, just for my clarity, is it a known issue that we're looking at?
Well, let's let Manager Hamer give her report, and then maybe we'll ask questions after that, and then we'll try to keep it on a high level, and if we get to a different level, I'm sure we'll be told, but we'll do our best. So let's go to the Recreation Services report.
Okay. For Recreation Services, I also wanted to share that the Cultural Arts Division hosted an art night on June 3rd. They entertained over 1,000 participants at the Community and Senior Center, Library, and City Hall. And we did have Encinitas VIP volunteers assist with that at the shuttle stops and helping with operations. The Music by the Sea concert was on Friday, June 16th at the Encinitas Library. That also sold out and also included our VIP volunteers. Upcoming is the Moonlight Sunday Summer Concerts. Those will launch in July. This year, new will be youth bands, teen bands opening at 1 p.m., and then at 3 p.m. will be the headliners. And the dates for those concerts are July 9th, 23rd, August 6th, and August 20th. We will have a city booth there, so if there are commissioners interested in participating, I'll be sending an email with the dates and information. Also, in July is the Cardiff Dog Days of Summer, which is a partnership with Cardiff 101. And that's another fantastic event that we will be hosting. We'll be utilizing VIP volunteers for helping with zero waste and recycling. And we'll have a city booth for that event as well. But most importantly, July is National Parks and Recreation Month, which is a very important month to our profession to shed a spotlight onto all the services, amenities, and programs that we offer to keep our community healthy and active. We'll be doing a proclamation at the June 28th City Council meeting. We invite you all to join us if you'd like to attend. And there'll also be a video spotlighting all our different operations and activities. And throughout the month of July, we'll be on social media, highlighting all the different services that are offered and available to Encinitas residents and visitors. And with that, I can take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Maybe it might make sense to just, from a broad perspective, could you, from a high level, give us a discussion of the infrastructure task force and kind of how that might impact capital improvement projects or repair projects with city assets?
I can speak to the infrastructure task force. So City Council created this task force to look broadly at all infrastructure within the city. So this is drainage in Leucadia, sinkholes in Cardiff, quiet crossings, streetlights, sewer, storm, all things infrastructure in the city. And so each of the departments will be giving presentations to the infrastructure task force coming up. Parks is giving one next Monday. And it will include all of our projects that we have looking out into the future. So the backlog of playground replacements is one, beach access improvements, Grandview, Swami's, D Street, and others. So things that are big projects for us, and things that would be on our long-term CIP list. And the intent of this is so that the task force can really understand the magnitude of the need in the city, and they can begin to help prioritize those things and make some recommendations to council on what the priority should be, some potential funding options, things like that. We will be including upgrades to the community center in our presentation to the infrastructure task force, because that is a facility that we use. The facility is actually internally run by the Public Works Department through facilities, so a lot of what happens through that department. The recreation and the programming happens through our department for that facility. But because we are a tenant essentially in that building, we'll include the upgrades that we think need to be done.
And potentially one of the upgrades might be lighting or air conditioning or things like that.
We will certainly look at all energy efficiency measures that we can.
Okay, thank you. And just, I can get one more clarifying question on that. If items of safety, let's say, get a higher priority than items of convenience or items of sort of a need versus a want, or kind of how do you think about ranking, if you will, items like that?
Probably a much broader question for another discussion.
Okay, thank you. And that building, the infrastructure of that building itself, you said is run by the Department of Public Works, is that right?
Yes, through their facilities division.
Through their facilities division, okay. Commissioner, Vice Chair Ritter?
I would also just say that that task force is actually, their purview is really to take a look at major infrastructure needs that the city is going to forecast for many years into the future. So it's not something that just because it ends up getting recommended or something that it gets onto the want list, it's not, that particular avenue is not going to be responded to quickly. So I would just say that when we consider that as an avenue, it's not going to be one that has a really fast response to it. I was curious, just so because I've never really looked at the lights closely in the gym there. Can you tell us, are the lights LED, or what's the current lighting system there?
They are not LED, and so we look when we have older lights like we do at Cardiff Sports Park. We'll sometimes seek grants for energy efficiency upgrades. So Cardiff Sports Park lighting is typical incandescent lighting, so we're going to replace that with LED. Similarly, at the Community and Senior Center, we can seek grants for things like that for energy efficiency.
And then the grant, when it comes to grants, that window between requesting the grant and actually getting the grant can be anywhere from 6 months to year or two.
Yes, typically.
And then the lights that we have, are they ones that you can substitute an LED bulb that's at a brighter intensity while it's still using a lower wattage? Do we know that just from a big picture standpoint?
I feel we might be getting a little off track of our work plan here.
Okay, well, I think it's important to note that we're, that this is a topic that we can evaluate individually on our own tours of facilities and try to creatively work towards positive solutions so that we can serve our constituents as best we can. So I appreciate everyone's comments on it, and I appreciate your guidance on what's on and off the agenda as well. Thank you. And thank you very much for the Park Services report. I appreciate that.
Steve? Sorry.
Yes.
I have one more question. Not details, but is it appropriate to ask to have an agenda item added and some details around the lighting and plans presented?
I don't think we need an agenda item on this per se. We're more than happy to work with any of the members of the public to give them the information that they need.
Great, thank you.
I had a question for Manager Hammer. When it comes to social media channels, are we only using the City of Encinitas Instagram account, or do we have our own Parks and Rec Instagram account or other social media channels?
Manager Hamer, we only utilize the City of Encinitas social media accounts. We can submit requests to have certain messaging or, stories put through, but they do have to go through one contact at City Hall, and then they vet and set that up.
Thank you. When I went to that convention, I noticed some of the Parks and Rec Department kind of had their own channel, and they were able to have a little bit more control on the content. They were also able to post a lot more, and it's kind of got out to the public a little bit better. I think some people would be more specifically interested in following the Parks and Rec channel, more so than maybe just getting all the city information. So I don't know if as a department we've ever considered that, or whether there are constraints with regards to departments kind of having an outward presence without actually going through a central public affairs department.
If I could just speak from experience, I do know that most cities like to control the branding and outputting into the public. So usually it's either a communications department or public information officer. I have worked for a city where we did control the platforms, and it got taken away as soon as they noticed we had so many followers. So it's measured from different cities. I don't think it's a good question to ask. I am new here. I just been here a few months, so I think it's a good question to ask. But at this moment, they have been very good about, once you submit a post, they're good about getting it up there. I haven't had a lot of pushback, and in fact, for the July is Parks and Recreation Month, they've been really excited and willing to upload whatever we believe is the messaging needed for our department. So, but we can always ask.
Thank you. I think it's worth considering. I know that running a channel like a social media presence, whether it's just Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it's time consuming and it takes a lot of effort. And just getting the content is time consuming as well. So I can also understand it from a manpower standpoint that it might be a bit to chew, and I think it's one of those things we have to decide whether we think we would get enough bang out of our buck to kind of do something like that.
Maybe we could partner with traffic and safety. Okay, thank you very much for your report. Are there any commission member initiated agenda items? No. Okay. Future agenda items added by commission members? No. Okay. Commission reports roundtable. Vice Chair Ritter, can I start with you?
Other than the meeting that I attended with Encinitas Trails Coalition, I don't really have much to report since I've been out of town, but I look forward to working with the fellow commissioners here on the ad hocs that I'm involved with them on, and getting some work done this coming month. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hanson?
This might be the slowest month I've had since I've been sitting here. Not a whole lot happening. Thank you for coming out. We obviously care. It's come up like 6 times from us to them, and we'll seek a resolution somehow and get things to work. But other than that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner O'Halloran?
I have nothing to add tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Quinn, anything to share?
Just really quickly, I am on the ad hoc committee for pickleball, and I did visit Cottonwood last week and talked to quite a few of the pickleball players there, and some were coming down from Vista, but there wasn't any issues with, and maybe I should have spoke about this when it was on the agenda item, but didn't seem to be any issues with tennis, and and pickleball. Somebody shared the article that was in the Union Tribune about the conflicts in San Diego. I found that to be pretty interesting. It was you. Thank you. Thank you. I read that last night. That was interesting. A question for staff. Are you staff? Manager? I'm sorry. The Trails Master Plan, how often is that updated, or is there a need for it to be updated? Because I was reviewing it today, and it's about 15 years old or older.
Let's touch base offline.
Pardon?
Let's
Okay.
touch base offline.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I saw another article that actually talked about how people are planning their vacation around the availability of pickleball, and they might choose to go to one city versus another if they are offering public pickleball as opposed to not offering that. I thought it was interesting, too. Anyway, Commissioner Vandauer, anything to add or share, please?
I did attend the art night. It was really fun. We started at the library, and we actually were coached on making an origami piece, so it was really fun. And then went down to the main street and participated there. It was really fun. Also, the Encinitas cruise night. I know it's not Parks and Rec, but also as a citizen, just went down there and resident and had fun. Yeah, it's good.
Great, thank you very much. I don't have anything to add on my own behalf. I just, again, would encourage our commissioners to really start digging in as best we can to our various work plan items. That's what our goals are, and that really is what makes the commission valuable to staff. And once again, I just want to thank staff again for being here tonight. Thank you for answering all of our questions. I appreciate you both very much. And I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 6:27. Thank you.